We're coming back hot. We're going to be talking about the latest technology that's coming out of InnovaSea nowadays. And so here we have Amy Brookman today. She's their Director of Product Management, so she's really in charge of coming up with all of these fantastic new ideas of technology that we can use to really understand our ecological systems better. And so she's going to give us a little taste of the latest and greatest. Thank you so much, Amy.
All right, thank you very much. Can everyone hear me okay? Thanks very much for having me. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a taste of what's been going on at VEMCO and InnovaSea. How do I click forward on my slide?
Oh, it's just the right arrow button.
It's not working.
Okay.
Sorry. Just right now.
Ah, looky there. It's working. All right, so I'll just go through a little bit of what I'm going to talk about today. So the first thing I'm going to go over is our vision for fish tracking for the future. I'm going to talk a little bit about how InnovaSea and VEMCO have come together to make this vision possible. And then I'm going to go through a few of the things that are new in technology today. So we'll talk about environmental monitoring, real-time monitoring with Fathom Live. I'll go over the Fathom suite of software that we've recently launched, our acoustic data storage tags, predation tags, and if that's not enough, we'll talk about our 307 kilohertz system as well. So here's a little bit of a view of our vision for the future. So what we aim to do is help our scientists, and we put those into kind of two product categories. We look at what we're doing underwater in order to capture new data, and what we're going to be doing above the water in software to collect, share, and help scientists collect, share, and analyze that data. So if we look at the top of the water up here, from the left, we'll be looking in 2019, we launched our new Fathom Central application. And the goal here is to look at ease of data collection, mobile field applications, and visualization of data. In 2020, we'll be working with sharing with networks and connecting the data types of data, so receiver data and metadata. And then we'll be combining environmental data and aggregating that data. So our vision is to take that to the point where we've got high performance data in the cloud, and we're helping you to connect the metadata and receiver data files and sharing those with your networks and with your colleagues. Our goal is not to, our vision is not to jump into the great science and biological work that you do as scientists, but it's to provide you all the tools and means to get that data to the point where you're ready to start analyzing what those animals are doing. And then below the water, our vision is to provide as many tools and ways to collect more and advanced data as we possibly can. So we'll look at small tags, real-time receivers, and predation, which are some of the things I'm going to talk about today in the presentation. But we'll also be looking at adding environmental data and some physical sensors as well. And then we'll be looking at aggregating data from other sources that connects to our fish tracking vision, as well as means of collecting data beyond fixed or coastal arrays out into the open ocean. So beyond what telemetry can do today. So the first thing we'll talk about is InnovaSea and VEMCO and how we'll bring this vision together. So most of you know us as VEMCO. We were purchased last year by InnovaSea. And so InnovaSea Marine Systems focus is on enabling sustainable use of our oceans and freshwater ecosystems. So we bring together several technologies: VEMCO, real-time aquaculture, HTI, which you may know is a fish tracking company in Seattle, Nortec aquaculture, and water management technologies. And so all of these, what's really exciting to me, being part of VEMCO, is InnovaSea has enabled us to have access to resources that we've never had before. So if we thought innovation was fast and exciting on acoustic telemetry before, it's going to definitely accelerate in the next 5 to 10 years because of this new access to resources and the combining of these technologies, all focused on marine and fish and sustainable use of our oceans. So it's really an exciting time to be part of this group. So, what's new? First thing I'm going to talk about is environmental monitoring. So this is the piece that really connects all of the InnovaSea systems we're talking about here today. So from InnovaSea's perspective, the goal is to go from ag to harvest in aquaculture systems, and these are offshore aquaculture pens, so open ocean aquaculture that involves an entirely automated farm from egg to harvest. And one of the really unique technologies that brought this together was the underwater communications technology that you see with fish tags and receivers. And so that underwater communications protocol that's uniquely VEMCO has enabled us to create these remote environmental sensors that can be distributed and communicate in real time the environmental situation in aquaculture pens. And so the VEMCO technology has been passed to these farm systems, and now we're able to start bringing that technology back into VEMCO. And so now we have this system that, because it's all based on the same protocols, can use environmental aqua measures and fish tags and receivers all in one system, so we can start to have a compatible environmental and fish tag monitoring system.
I'm just going to try to update the stream. Just keep going if you like. I just have to do a quick change on the screen here. I'm so sorry, everyone. This is what we're being.
I've been paused.
That's there. Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay. So the idea is we'll bring fish tracking and environmental monitoring together with a completely compatible system. And so this is just a closer look at one of these environmental sensors. So some of the key features I mentioned is this underwater communications ability, but they're also easy to deploy. They have cloud sync technology, so everything syncs to the Fathom data cloud. They also, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute, they're configured by a mobile app, so you just need to go near them. You can offload them. You can configure them with a mobile app. And they have Bluetooth connectivity. So if we look a little bit more at those, the idea is here they capture in situ environmental conditions. They transmit their sensor values, but they also log their sensor values, so they're a logger and a transmitter. When placed in range of a Fathom Live system, which I'm also going to discuss a little bit more detail, they transmit data in real time. And so when they're in range of that, you can get real-time environmental information. And they come in a variety of sensors. So we have dissolved oxygen, salinity, turbidity, dissolved organic matter, chlorophyll, and blue-green algae. So the real-time Fathom suite is what I'm going to talk about next. I mentioned it a few minutes ago. This is a look at our Fathom real-time buoy in the water. This is actually deployed at the California State University Shark Lab. And so this is a look at what the real-time buoy looks like from a back-end perspective. So we have the live dashboard, which is an ability to visualize your information, fish detections, and environmental data in real time. The buoy itself, inside the buoy is a box and a receiver. So that box can be connected via cell or Wi-Fi, and we're looking at developing a satellite version of it as well. That data feeds into a data management and security system, and it passes automatically to mobile and desktop applications, so you can get those notifications in real time, and you can do it via email or via text or open in the app. And here's a look at what the real-time fish detection app looks like. So you can see on the top left, you're in the Animals tab, and you can see your buoys. Those buoys are live on the West Coast right now. And so these are fake sharks, obviously, that we've put in there, but this would give you an idea of what you'd see. So those tiles on the bottom there are live detections of animals. So if you've got a detection on a receiver, these tiles would pop up, and you also get a notification in the top right-hand corner when you've received an animal detection. If we toggle over here to the environmental tab, it gives you the same look, but you've got environmental monitors next to your live receivers. And so those pop up environmental tabs. And if I click play here, it'll show you how you can click through the environmental aspects of the dashboard. So there on the right, you're clicking different sensors and graphing different sensors, and these are real-time information. This is a look at your hub status. How's it doing? What's its battery life? What's its tilt? Has it been towed away by a boat? So you'll get a notification if it's moved out of its geographic range. And then you can select individual environmental monitors and graph that information based on the time that you expect. So this is the logged data of the aqua measures. All right, so I'm going to click over again. Stop. Okay, so the next thing we're going to have a look at is the Fathom suite as a whole. So I've talked a little bit about Fathom Live so far. I've mentioned Fathom Mobile, but this is a look at what the entirety of the Fathom suite is and what the goal will be. So this is available today. You can have an account, log in, and start using some of these features. So our concept behind Fathom is that we'll first be able to help you simplify your deployment information. So when you're in the field, capturing that early metadata. We're hoping to be able to modernize your field notes with Fathom mobile app. So it allows you to easily capture those types of deployment and metadata information, and then streamline that data management into the Fathom cloud. The other goal of Fathom is to first help you visualize your data in a very rough and early way so that you can see it to start. Just have those animals on a map and that receiver metadata on a map to get insights faster, and then share your knowledge with others. So presentation visualizations and also sharing with your colleagues and networks. So the 4 tools in Fathom are Fathom Mobile, Fathom Position, Fathom Connect, and Fathom Live. So I'll give you an overview of some of those. So here we have Fathom Central and Fathom Live. So I'll talk a little bit about how they connect together. So in Fathom Central, for example, if you uploaded and managed your data, and in this example it would be shark detections from the last 20 years on VR2W receivers, for example, if you upload those and input the metadata to Fathom Central, then you go through and you're able to use the historical feature detection in Fathom Live. So Fathom Live is on the bottom here. This is your real-time detection. So if you get a detection of an animal at that moment, you're able to click on that animal and see more metadata information about it, when it was tagged, what's its sex, what's its length. And then you can see all of the detections you have of that animal on the live system and on other receivers that have been loaded into Fathom Central. And then it allows you to give you a time slider visualization of where that animal has been over time. And so the use case so far on this has been, okay, we have a detection of a white shark here today at a beach, but does that mean we need to close that beach? Is that animal resident around that area, or are they just swimming through? So this helps us give the researchers an idea of when that animal's been there, or are they moving quickly? So Fathom Mobile, we'll move on to this one. So this is a mobile phone app available on Apple or Android. I can give you, if you're interested in this, I can give you a login. I believe they're going in the store this week or next week for the Android version, and the Apple version is already in the store. So the idea here is that it connects to your receivers, as well as allows you to capture deployment information while you're there. So as you're deploying your receiver, you can actually click and log a GPS measurement. You can log time, location, that sort of thing. It allows you to basically assist with your deployment and retrieval of receivers, and your tagging metadata as well. So as you can see in the bottom here, you have a receivers tab, a tags tab, an animals tab, and settings. So this app will automatically sync to the Fathom Central Cloud as well. And so what else is important about this app is that with the Android app, you can offload all of your your current receivers, so VR2Ws, VR2TXs, VR2ARs. With the Apple app, they've limited our ability to connect only to Bluetooth Low Energy receivers. So these ones are new ones sold since 2017 and beyond. So they won't necessarily be able to offload older VR2Ws, but with the Apple app, you will be able to do all of the metadata management stuff as well. So it will still have a lot of value, just not necessarily offloading those old receivers. But with your Android app, you can do that. All right, so here's a look at the Metadata Management Center of Fathom. And so this is where you're able to show your receivers station deployments on a map, show where they've been over time, load in GPX files, and set up your studies and stations in this manager. And this is what brings you to the point where you're able to quickly visualize your data on a map. So this is just a bubble plot using stations and metadata to show where your animal has been. So really just quick early visualizations. I'm going to skip through that. In Fathom, the other thing you can do with it is look at your studies. So you can manage studies in Fathom, so assign receivers to those, assign stations to those, and it will give you an easy way to manage those studies here. So this is just a quick view of it. In each study, it has files and systems, so you can assign files and metadata to each study. And then you can share it. So right now we have sharing enabled with OTN. We've worked really hard to create a good flow with them from Fathom to the OTN database. And so in the future, we're looking to be able to create sharing with a lot of other networks too. We are in talks with ETN and GLaDOS specifically as our first steps. And then we've talked a lot to FACT, and we're open to other discussions as well. Any networks and people who are willing to and wanting to share with us. All right, and last but certainly not least in the Fathom suite is the Fathom Position tool. So Fathom Position allows a scientist to go in and do their own VPS analysis or their own positioning analysis. And so this can be used with VR2TX and VR2AR receivers because it has a built-in sync tag, which really allows us to make this user software possible. It provides map and timeline visualizations, and of course, with something that's as complicated as positioning your own tags, we offer training for this piece of software as well. All right. So we'll move on to acoustic data storage tags. Move out of the Fathom suite. So acoustic data storage tags are they're basically two complementary technologies in one tag. They're a transmitter and also a data logger. And so we have them available in temperature and depth versions today. And this idea of combining these two technologies together allows you to really ground truth detection data, like archive data with acoustic detection data, and explain patterns between acoustic detections when you have that archive data. It really allows you to look at vertical movement patterns, correlate it with geolocation models, and extend that detection or that information that you might be able to get when your animal's not in the array and then when it comes back into the array. So one of the other things that we're looking at in the future vision of our acoustic data storage tags is how do we transmit. We have a small bit of information that we can send from our tag to a receiver. And in that small bit of information, we're planning to send some kind of summary data. And we're trying to work with our scientists, and if you guys have suggestions on what information would be useful, min, max, and average, some timestamps, that kind of thing, of that logged data, to be able to get more of that data back even if you don't recover the tag to get the full historical logs. We've also looked at some really cool advanced summary data, but that will be another year or two out. On the acoustic data storage tag on our roadmap, the next thing is going to be acceleration, and we're planning to have acceleration trials in this coming year. So if you're interested in those, please talk to me about those as well. And of course, it's not exciting if it's not seen on a shark. So here's the lovely acoustic data storage tag swimming on a shark. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about predation tags. Predation tags are also new. So the idea here is to look at an animal that has been predated by another animal. So the idea first is that there's a white dot compound on the tag that you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. Sorry, that dissolves in the presence of stomach acid. When it dissolves, the transmitter changes its ID to a predated sensor. So it's basically transmitter 123 or transmitter 456. Now, it's different in the 69 kilohertz family for predation tags. So in that instance, it's ID 1234, and then when it's predated, it will be ID 1234 plus a sensor information. So that will allow you to know it's been predated, and it will also give you the information about time since it's been predated. So we get a little bit more information in the 69 kilohertz family. So it's currently available in a V3, a V5, a V7, and a V9 size. And those are in 307, 180, and 69 kilohertz. Okay, so we'll have a look at it in action. These are two transmitters. One's in stomach acid and one is not. There's the original ID. It digests in 13 minutes. You can see the white dot compound coming off. And there is the new predated ID showing up. All right, and the last thing I have to talk today about is our 307 kilohertz system. So this is new to the Vemco family of systems. So the idea here behind the 307 kilohertz system is that we needed something that was able to have really, really tiny tags, and that was one of the high motivations for moving to a higher frequency. And so this tag is 0.2 grams. How big's our P3? 0.29 grams? Anyways, I'll find out that information, I forget. But it's really tiny. It's smaller than a Tic Tac, super narrow. It's meant for salmon smolts, very small tag. And the other advantage of this system is we can employ technologies that came from HTI and also from Vemco. And so we brought these two technologies together. And so our 307 kilohertz line can do HTI coding and HR coding. And we're finding huge advantages to both of these in terms of resonancy, temporal scale, and range in high noise and residency situations where we require to detect hundreds of animals at the same time and have really fine scale results. So this system has allowed us to get tiny tags and really high resolution and high temporal scales. So, most importantly, Kim mentioned that I come up with these ideas at the start. It's not really true. I don't come up with any of these ideas. You guys come up with these ideas, and I filter them in a big pile. And so I would love to hear from you guys what you want to see next. Is our vision in line with yours? Do you want to see something entirely different? What's the game changers in acoustic telemetry for you, and how can we help you make those possible? And then we also have this new, you can come and talk to me directly, but we also have a customer support portal, which allows you to self-serve. It allows you to talk with our customer support team online, submit cases, see where your RMAs are at, and that kind of stuff. But it allows you to interact directly with us. So you can also submit ideas through there as well. And thank you very much. That's it for me.